Yeah, you got chicken?
No, that's sausage.
You don't eat it. Okay, come here, Maya. Hold on, Grig. Wait, we're gonna take a picture. Say cheese.
No.
You wanna take a picture? Maya, you cooperate. Grig.
Chicken.
Chicken. A smile, look at the camera.
Say cheese.
1, 2, 3. Cheese. Cheese. Okay. Good job.
Yes.
Say I did it. Say I did it.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
When you fall and you get
Yeah,
up,
you
say,
shake.
okay.
Move.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany if you guys are new here, and as you just saw, you just met the kids. They're kind of crazy right now, so they're like dismissed for the time being, even though Grayson's over here playing with his Hot Wheels and stuff like that. But I just wanted to talk to you guys today about how I found out both of the kids had autism, because both of them went through very, very different things, because they each have, obviously no two autistic children are like, everyone who has autism is different. Like, they're like snowflakes. There's no two that are the same. And also because Amaya's a girl, Grayson's a boy, age difference, a lot of factors played into it. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know like how we found out, when we found out, and things like that. Well, I want to say one thing that some people might not even like that I even brought this up, but because our kids are black, I feel like it was a lot harder to get them diagnosed, especially Amaya. She's a black girl. That was hard. Because girls' autism is a lot different than boy autism. Like the things that they would call stemming for a boy, girls might not necessarily do that type of things. They might not be obsessed with like Hot Wheel tracks, cars and things like that, but she had other symptoms, I guess, she was other things that she did that they didn't think was stemming, but now looking back, and we know it is stemming. Okay, so obviously, well, not obviously, we found out Amaya had autism first. We found out about a year ago. She was in 1st grade, but I kind of knew she had something going on maybe years before that. I actually think my aunt was the one who mentioned it first. She's the one who made us all start like going to the autism walks and stuff like that. She was like, hey, maybe Amaya is on the spectrum. She was like, you know, the spectrum is so wide, so large, like you just never know. And I was like, you know what, maybe she's right. Like, I really thought about it, and that's when I like started the process of trying to get her some type of help, because you just kind of know, like, I've been around kids a lot in my life, and I just knew like something just wasn't quite right. So a lot of the things that Maya did was like, I thought was from anxiety. Like whenever she heard a loud noise, like, well, a loud noise, like if she heard the toilet flushing, she would go like this. Turned on the sink, she would do the same thing. My husband was in the military, and I was away with Maya by myself in a different state for a long time, so our sleep schedule was kind of like, we went to sleep whenever we wanted to, we'll wake up whenever we wanted to, so there was really no routine in our like everyday day-to-day life. Her dad would get home late, so like if we're up at 4:30 in the evening and her dad doesn't come home till 6, then like that was perfect because we could spend time with him and things like that. So her routine and stuff like that didn't really bother me, except when it got really routine. Like there was no breaking the routine. We had to do everything a specific way all the time, and she never slept. When I say never slept, she never slept. Also, when Amaya was a baby, she was like young, maybe like, she didn't like formula. This is how back it goes. She did not like formula. We switched to so many formulas, she would spit it up and everything like that. So then she had to go on milk early because of that. Like she just wasn't, in hindsight, she didn't like the texture of milk or formulas. Now I know this. Before I didn't. She refused to drink milk. She didn't like yogurt, applesauce, anything like that. Amaya was not eating, so I had to like break up little cheese and stuff like that so she would get her calcium. I'm telling the doctors this, and we're going through plans and things like that with her like, okay, so she's not taking this milk or that milk, or she's not drinking milk in general, you know, try yogurt or applesauce and other things like that to kind of supplement it. And she wasn't having any of those soft textured foods. And then as she got older, she started gagging. Then she'll throw up the foods and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know, what's going on? She just doesn't like these textures. I would tell everyone, just don't give her yogurt or applesauce or anything like that, because she's not going to eat it. Or eggs, like scrambled eggs. She's not going to eat that stuff. She just didn't like it. Also, she would only talk to certain people in my family, which was, I mean, in like my culture, like if you walk in a room and you don't speak to someone, that's disrespectful. Like, you need to speak to everyone. But whenever, like, I would say, you know, you have to speak, she'll get real anxious, and like she just couldn't. She would shut down. Sometimes she would just rock and go like this, and then she started biting her lip. So she bit her lip so much and so often that her lip was swollen. It looked like I like punched her in the lip, and it was swollen. It didn't go down for months. So eventually I brought her to the doctor. I'm like, hey, her lip isn't going down. All she does is like bite on it, and she's still not sleeping. Like, what's going on? These are like over months and stuff like this. So her pediatrician had me take a test with her, and basically it was like, do you feel sad often, and do you like talking to people? How does this make you feel? I don't know, some little questionnaire thing. I asked her all the questions, and it was so depressing and sad to see. She was, on paper, it looked like pure depression. And I'm like, holy crap, like, how is she this depressed at such a young age? She was 6 then. So like I was so confused. I'm like, what is going on? Like, she gets everything she wants. Like, we have so much fun. We go skydiving because she loves doing stuff like that, which I thought was different, because she did indoor skydiving when she was 5 years old. That in itself is nuts. Like, I'm like, what kid at 5 wants to go skydiving? So yeah, the doctor was like, okay, she's like really depressed. I want you to get her in some type of therapy. So I said, all right. You know, I found a therapist for her to go to, and she just wasn't like opening up to her like the way I thought she would. And finally the therapist says, hey, I think she has Asperger's. So I'm like, what is Asperger's? I've never heard of that before. She was like, it's a type of autism, basically. Now, Asperger's is autism. There's no difference and things like that. It's basically, you're like socially awkward. You have noise sensitivity. You have to have things in routine, like things like that. It's basically Maya, and she was super hyper. Come here. You gotta go poo-poo? No? Come here. Why are you in my bathroom? To a stage, and there's like little things that are just not sitting well with me. One day we were outside, like crossing the street. It was dark at outside, and we were crossing the street to go into our old apartment, and a car had the lights on and the music, I think, was loud. Amaya took off and she just ran from me, and I was like, oh my god, like she almost got hit by a car because she just took off and just started running. And I'm like, no, like there needs to be more done than just you saying, oh, she has Asperger's, it is what it is. So I did a lot of research, and then I finally realized like that, not therapist, psychiatrist, whatever, she wasn't the right fit for us. So I brought her somewhere to a guy, and he did a test on her. It was like an hour, I forgot, maybe 3 hours. I forgot how long the test is. And we got the results back, and he was like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with her. And I'm like, no, like there is. Like, I know there is. It doesn't necessarily have to be autism. She has some type of anxiety disorder. She has something. So I'm still in contact with the first person who diagnosed her with Asperger's, and she's like, okay, I also think Amaya has OCD, anxiety disorder, Asperger's, and there was something else, because she like lied a lot, and she was very aggressive, like very aggressive. She snapped really fast. She'd go to super happy to like, this is the worst day ever, blah 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 blah, like this is the worst day ever, and I'm gonna like punch something or do something and yell. So I'm like, okay, some of that stuff makes sense. Like, I completely get why you would say this is OCD and stuff like that. but I wasn't buying it fully because of her delivery. She was just like, she has Asperger's, there's nothing you can do about it. So my husband found another place. It was actually like a behavioral health place, who also diagnosed for autism. So I had to go into the room with her because she was not going in the room with her, like, by herself. So every answer the lady asked her, she would look at me and like be like, what's the answer? She was not listening. She was just totally in a different place that day. She was just not having it. The lady had toys, and I picked up 2 toys, and she was just like, what do you want me to do with these things? I'm not playing with them. Because she didn't play with toys too. That was another thing that kind of threw me off. She would be in the chair, she'd be slouched, like she didn't want to be there. It was horrible. So the lady said, okay, Tiffany, I'm going to tell you this. Looking at her, she doesn't have autism. And I said, what does that mean? Because I thought, like, you could be the prettiest person in the world and still have autism. It has nothing to do with your looks. So she goes, no, like her demeanor and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because to me, she just failed the fuck out of your test. But after I did my calculations and I added everything up, she 100% has autism. And with autism comes like ADHD, sometimes there's a little bit of OCD and anxiety disorder. I said, oh my God, like that makes perfect sense. What do I do? Because the last time we got diagnosed with this, they said it is what it is. She said, no, we can get her an ABA, occupational therapy, therapy in general. She gave me a bunch of stuff to do to like help out. I was like, okay, great. This is the longest process ever. Amaya missed so much school because she refused to go to school in the morning sometimes. She didn't want to wake up. It was just hard. So with Grayson, it was a lot more different. Grayson was, hi. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Hi. Grayson was, he just turned 3 years old a couple days ago. But he was late crawling. He started talking, started saying thank you, and he was really interactive. He would respond to his name, things like that. We got shots, I forgot what shot it was, and then I saw him change drastically. He had tantrums all the time, and then he stopped talking completely. And it was almost like he reverted back to a baby. He didn't sleep. He was up every couple of hours. So I had 2 kids who were up every hour. One wasn't up, the other one was up. So I got no sleep, which is where my story of PNES came into play. If you guys haven't seen that video, go watch it. Yeah. So, hi. I can't see you. Hi. I can't see you. Hi. You can't see you. Hi. 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 You silly. Oh, I brought it up to his doctor. He also had a lot of health issues when it came to like asthma, RSV, GERD. He didn't sleep. So I kind of knew there was like something going on really, really early. Don't touch. No touch it. Huh? Yeah, it's the camera. No touch it. No, hey. Don't touch it. So, yeah, I knew something was going on early on. So I asked this pediatrician, and I was like, is there anything we can do? Because he's not talking. He's not saying mommy. He doesn't say dada. He doesn't say anything, and I need to be able to communicate with him. She said, Mommy, there's something called... Mommy. Yes.
Papa.
You want to see Papa? Huh?
Mommy, oh,
mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you go poo-poo? So with Grayson, it was different. I asked this pediatrician and said, what can we do? He's not talking or anything like that. So she said there's something called Birth to 3. And it's like to help kids who are like speech delayed, and if there's other issues going on, it helps them like catch up basically. So I was like, okay. It was through the state, I believe. Yeah, I think that's through the state. I don't know if it's everywhere, but here in Connecticut we have Birth to 3. So and I was also familiar with Birth to 3 because when we had our foster child, she had to have Birth to 3 come in, but it was because, so yeah, I was familiar with what they did and how they came into your house. So Birds of Three started coming to the house, and she started teaching him sign languages, like different signs and stuff like that, because he also wasn't using, he wasn't responding to his name. Like eat with utensils. At this point, Grayson was 2 years old, and he wasn't doing things like that. So, well, she's coming every single day, and I'm seeing there's no change, like, at all in his behavior or anything like that. And I'm like, and like with him picking up sign language, except he was able to say more. And I was like, okay, like we've been doing this for some months now. He's not doing anything else. He's not saying more, and you're here for what, 2 hours during the day, every single day. So like what else can we do? And I'm using these things myself. Like everything she's doing, I'm doing also, and my husband's doing. I'm like, is there something else we can do? So she says, yeah, there's something else. At this point, Grayson is not diagnosed with anything, except they said he's like delayed. So I'm like, okay. I also want to get him evaluated, because I think he may have autism, because he was talking and now he's not. And also his sister has autism. So I'm just like, yeah, that's Sprite. Did you get that out the fridge? So I'm like, come here, Gregor. Show the camera. Show the camera what you're doing.
Camera.
Yeah, over here. Come here. Yeah, show them your Sprite. You got Sprite, right? Yeah. Say hi. Okay. Okay. Can you go give it to sister? Say, sister, can you open? So the lady is like, okay, I agree with you. He's not progressing in any way, shape, or form. So she gets in contact with somebody else. It's a behavioral health service. And well, first we have to get him evaluated. She gets him evaluated by someone who can diagnose him with something. Because we knew something was not right 100%. Wasn't 100% right. So he gets evaluated, and she's like, yes, he has autism. I think we have a video of when he got diagnosed today. It was like a vlog style one, and kind of my thoughts after. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll link it here. So yeah, he got diagnosed with autism, and then he was able to get services, a lot of services, but I chose for him to go with ABA first, because he had a lot of behavioral issues. Like his tantrums were really bad. He could clear a room in 2.2 seconds. If he got upset, he's throwing things at you, he's breaking stuff like that. And I was like, we need to get that and his speech under control, because he's gonna be starting school soon, and I don't want him to like hurt anybody. And also his sister, with her emotional state and his emotional state, it can make our household blow up. So we did ABA therapy every single day for 10 months, for like 2 hours a day. And the first, I want to say 3 months were hard. We had to do like 3 weeks of them just coming in and just observing him, because he wouldn't let anyone talk to him. If you looked at him, he was screaming and crying and trying to hit them, throwing things at them, his workers. And then eventually, maybe like the 4th month, he started doing good. He was able to play with Play-Doh, which before he didn't like anything on his hands. He didn't like things to be sticky. They got him to like make eye contact with bubbles. Like they would put the bubbles and they'll say, do you want more bubbles? And they'll have the bubbles right here. And they're like, do you want more bubbles? They got him to say yes. And eventually the eye contact was second nature for him. Or yeah, second nature, not first nature, second. He started making eye contact. He started playing with Play-Doh. He started playing with people. He started talking to people. He would say hi, or he was able to say back, because he didn't want them to leave. Like, come back here, basically. He then, maybe like 10 months down, he started maxing out everything. He was able to put shapes into where they were supposed to go, in like a little shape box. He was able to label animals. He was able to look at pictures and see if he would go more into depth. If you showed him, like if you showed him this DVD, he would say like, oh, look at that, a dot, instead of like looking at everything else. But he was able to label it a dot, which was really good because one, he wasn't speaking before or labeling things. He also was able to like eat with utensils, and it was just a huge improvement with him. So he didn't max out. He aged out of ABA when he turned 3 because they only go up to 3 with insurance, and without, well, we have insurance, but without him being the age of 3, the state doesn't pay for it anymore. You have to fund it yourself, and it gets expensive, and my kids don't qualify for Social Security because of our income, me and Derek's income, which is like, it is what it is. Maybe I'll appeal it one day, but as of right now, they're fine. He just started school, and he is in special education now, where they do speech with him and they do occupational therapy. He also does physical therapy, just for like coordination and stuff like that. He is a little clumsy sometimes. I also asked the doctor about that. I'm like, why does he fall so much? And she's just like, oh, it's because he's 2. And I'm like, no, like, it's more than that. But she wasn't really on it. I think having 2 kids with autism is super hard. It's like one of the hardest things I've ever faced in my life. It's super stressful, but I love my kids and I'll do anything for them. There's a lot of services here in Connecticut, I know. There's a lot of schools, after school programs, and there's a bunch of help just in the community alone that I get now. You know, I had to start asking for help because it is tough. There's a lot of appointments that you need to go to, whether it be occupational or ABA or school, or having him picked up from school like on a bus, and there's a lot of services and a lot of help that I need. It really does take a village to raise kids who have special needs, or, you know, or disorders, or whatever the case may be. And now she's 7, she does take pills for anxiety, depression, and for sleep. Grayson is not on any type of medication. He does take melatonin at night sometimes, and that is just to help him calm down enough to get to sleep. Again, they don't sleep through the night. They're up at least 3 times in the night. I would love it if I can get in contact with more people on YouTube who have children with autism or a child with autism. I think that would be great for us to have like a relationship through YouTube. Like, it'll be really cool. You give me some tips, maybe I can give you some tips, and it'll just be really helpful. And it's good to like socialize with people who kind of understand what you're going through, why you can't attend this party or go here because there's loud noises or there's animals and your child, you know. It'll just be really cool to have more like YouTube moms or dads that are going through the same thing. Hopefully I like made it clear as to how we found out and kind of the different signs to look for in girls, because it's completely different than boys. Amaya was super fast with walking, talking, and socializing in general. It's just with certain people she didn't talk to. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Please like, comment, and share the story, because you never know, someone's kid could be going through the same thing and they just don't know where to start. So definitely share this video, and I'll see you guys when I see you.